Study about elements of organizational behavior. This is your first unit in which the contents are as follows, which you can see on your screen. It includes emergence of OB as a discipline. Secondly, we will study about what are the contributing disciplines to OB and how Hawthorne study have contributed in OB, and what are the 5 anchors of OB that aids knowledge management. So let's start our session. Before knowing about OB, let us try to understand what is an organization. In simple words, an organization is a group of people who are collected to work for a common goal with collective efforts. One thing that must be noted here is all the people gathered together to fulfill a common goal. And what do you mean by a common goal? It means it reflects planned organizational goals. Okay. Here the common goal means anything that aligns with the organizational goals. Okay, now let us understand what is OB. OB is concerned with the people's thought, emotion, feelings and action in a work setting. Here from this definition we are getting an understanding that OB is concerned about, or the focal area of OB is to observe people when they are doing their work. Okay, which means we are analyzing, we are observing people whenever they work in a team, whenever they are present in the workplace, how they feel, what are their thought processes, how they take decision, what they show, how they reflect their leadership skills, and what are the talents which they have, which they channelize over there. The field of study, it is the field of study that investigates the behavior of employees within the context of an organization. One thing which must be clear in the mind of students is that OB is bothered about how a person behaves, about what are the thought, feelings and emotion of a person in the context of an organization. We are not observing anyone whenever he is in his home or in his comfort zone. Rather, the study is all about investigating the behavior of employees within the context of organization. OB scholars systematically study individuals, team and structural characteristics that influence behavior within the organization. It's all about the same. Now let us see one of the definition given by Stephen P. Robbins, a very famous author. As per him, OB is a field of study investigating the impact that individual, group and structure have on behavior within the organization for the purpose of applying such knowledge towards improving an organization's effectiveness. In this definition, we come across 4 vital things. The first one is we are observing and investigating an individual, and next we are investigating a group of people, and lastly how several groups of people create a structure, create a framework, okay, create an internal dynamics. And the purpose is to apply such knowledge towards improving an organization's effectiveness. As soon as we'll get to know about how individual, groups and structure functions within the organization, we will get ample amount of opportunity to delve and find out what are the things we can improve. Okay, we can find loopholes, we can find opportunities, we can get to know about what are the things which we can intervene for the betterment of the organization, and how organization's effectiveness can be improved, that is productivity can be improved, and so that the organization can get competitive advantage. Other than that, we have another definition given by L.M. Prasad that says organizational behavior can be defined as the study and application of knowledge about human behavior that is related to other elements of an organization such as structure, technology and social systems. Here we are getting an ecological framework or an ecological or multi-level analysis point of view. Here, as per L.M. Prasad, we are using this field as an applied field of art and science, where we are actually integrating the several elements of organization. Later on, in the later slides, we will also get to know about what are the elements of OB. So now let us understand from where does OB emerged. To understand that point, first of all we have to understand the industrial organizational psychology, which is the broadest part, under which OB is just a term, which you can say that industrial organizational psychology is an umbrella term under which several other aspects that is related to an organization comes under it. It is an area of psychology that studies human behavior in work setting as per Reggio 2008, and the purpose of IO psychology is to enhance the dignity and performance of human beings and the organization that works in it by advancing the science and the knowledge of human behavior. Ruchi 2008. Here we are getting the knowledge that IO psychologist or the field of IO psychology is framed in such a manner that it will help us to identify the areas which can be improved in the near future so that organization's effectiveness can be maximized and we can get to know about human behavior in work setting. These two are the static points. Now let us see one of the definition given by American Psychological Association, that says the specialty of IO psychology is characterized by the scientific study of human behavior in organizations and the workplace. And if we want to see the categorization, then IO psychology can be divided into three broad areas that includes industrial, organizational and human factor, and engineering, also known as ergonomics. I hope you have heard about it. So let us understand what is industrial psychology. It is concerned with describing job requirements and assessing individual for their ability to meet those requirements. It is actually employee focused. It usually covers aspects like recruitment, selection, classification, compensation, performance appraisal, training. Okay. And organizational psychology is basically, it stresses the area of work satisfaction, motivation, commitment, occupational stress, leadership, group dynamics, group performance, team building, and this discipline's interest in studying the interaction between worker and the firm, which means here the focus is upon PE fit. Okay, how much the person is actually adjusting with his or her surrounding. This is the whole perspective of organizational psychology. This field also studies management, leadership, organizational culture, and how, as well as how an organization structure, management and leadership style, social norms and role expectation affects individual behavior. It's like a two-way process where actually you are understanding about the human perspective as well as the organizational personality. And lastly, is there any difference? Yes, there is. Industrial psychologists assess differences among individual workers and evaluate individual jobs, that is employee centric. Okay. On the other hand, organizational psychologist seeks to understand how workers function in an organization and how the organization functions in a society, which I have already mentioned. It actually focuses upon the compatibility or the match between an employee and the organization in which he or she works. Now here are some of the aspects which comes under each of the broader perspective, which you can see. Moving on to the next slide, let us understand what is ergonomics or human factor psychology. It is the study of how workers interact with the tools of work and how to design those tools to optimize workers' productivity, safety and health. It is very important, kindly note it down. It is actually the study through which we can enhance workers' productivity, we can ensure their safety and maintain their health. Though often this field is recognized as ergonomics, recent development in workspaces include desks where people might sit on the ball, swimming or even cycling while working. In this picture also, as you can see, this person is sitting on a gym ball in which the sitting posture is not as rigid as if the person would have seated on a for example, take for example a wooden chair or a rotating chair. So small changes like this can actually impact the rhythm of the work, and it actually helps helps a persons to maintain his or her physical health. Okay, now let us understand what are the themes which are the main focus that comes into play if we try to study IO psychology as a subject. So as you can see, career development, consumer behavior or consumer psychology, criterion theory and development, health and stress in organization, health performance factors or human factors, individual assessment, job evolution and compensation, job analysis and classification, judgment and decision making, leadership and management, organizational development, organizational theory, performance feedback and analysis, appraisal, personal recruitment, selection and placement process, small group theory and team processes, training theory, program design and evaluation, work motivation, international paradigm of HRM, safety and healthy workplace, industrial relation, how there are several kind of trade unions and how to resolve those kind of disputes if it occurs, the function of collective bargaining, incentives, human resource information system or HRIS, change management or conflict management and risk assessment, and lastly